Have you ever agreed to something you didn't want to do, just to avoid feeling uncomfortable saying no? Or maybe you stayed quiet when you really wanted to speak up, only to feel tense and anxious afterward. Welcome to Quieting Anxiety, a podcast by Excel at Life. I'm Dr. Monica Frank, and today we'll explore being assertive in communication as an exposure method to challenge social anxiety and perfectionism. It may not sound like an exposure at first. After all, being assertive is about clear, respectful communication. But for many people with anxiety, especially social anxiety, assertiveness can trigger a great deal of arousal and fear. In fact, for some people, learning to speak up, say no, or express disagreement can be one of the more formidable but effective anxiety-provoking exposures they can do. Let's begin with a brief mindful moment. Take a slow breath in and gently exhale. As you breathe, picture a recent situation where you hesitated to speak up. Maybe you wanted to say no or express your opinion, but anxiety held you back. Now imagine what it would feel like to say what you truly wanted to say, calmly, respectfully, and clearly. Notice what sensations arise. There might be tension, heat, or even a quickening heartbeat. That's okay. That's what exposure feels like, stepping toward discomfort, not away from it. Take one more slow breath and open yourself to learning today how this kind of exposure can transform your anxiety. Just a quick note before we begin. Practicing assertive communication can be a life-changing exposure, and as such, it may stir up some strong anxiety, especially if you've spent years avoiding conflict or fearing rejection. For some people, trying assertiveness without support can feel overwhelming or confusing. That's why it's so important to work with a qualified mental health professional who can guide you through the process and tailor it to your situation. What we discuss here is meant to help you learn, reflect, and build awareness, but it isn't a substitute for individualized treatment or professional guidance. Being assertive is an exposure similar to the act as if method we discussed in the last episode, because both involve behaving in ways that challenge anxiety-driven avoidance. However, assertiveness often feels more difficult since it involves situations that seem to carry a higher risk of conflict or rejection. When you express your needs or opinions directly, you may fear disapproval or negative reactions from others, which can trigger intense anxiety. It might seem odd to think of being assertive as exposure, but remember that exposures are about confronting what causes anxiety. For someone with social anxiety, that fear might be rejection, disapproval, or conflict. So when you speak up, even about something small, you're directly confronting that fear. For example, imagine a person whose boss asks them to stay late, but their daughter has a special event that evening. Internally, this person feels torn, a strong desire to attend the event, but anxiety about saying no. If they suppress their needs and stay at work, they may feel temporary relief. No confrontation, no rejection. But soon that relief turns into internal conflict, frustration, guilt, and even rising physical symptoms of anxiety or panic. Ironically, avoiding assertiveness increases anxiety in the long run. Confronting that discomfort is what makes assertiveness such a powerful form of exposure. It allows you to face those fears in real life rather than avoiding them. Each time you communicate openly and respectfully, you're teaching your mind that conflict doesn't have to be catastrophic, and that you can tolerate the uncertainty of how others might respond. It is important to recognize that the fear of being assertive is often about your perception of risk. For socially anxious individuals, for instance, assertiveness often feels risky because it means being visible and vulnerable to judgment. Saying, "I disagree," or "I can't do that," can bring fears like, "They'll think I'm selfish," or "They'll be angry," or "I'll lose their approval." These thoughts activate the body's threat response just like other exposure triggers. The heart races, muscles tense, the mind rehearses possible negative outcomes, and avoidance starts to feel safer. If being assertive seems overwhelming to you, it may be helpful to explore the episodes on restructuring irrational thinking to better understand and challenge the beliefs that make these situations feel so threatening. In CBT terms, avoiding assertiveness means reinforcing the belief that you can't handle rejection or conflict. Each time you avoid, that belief grows stronger. Some people avoid being assertive because they don't know how to do it effectively. Others know how, but fear using the skill. Many people struggle with assertiveness because they think it's simply about standing up for yourself by saying whatever is on your mind. When assertiveness is misunderstood this way, it can easily slip into aggression. For example, if you tell a coworker, "You're always dumping work on me, stop it," you're not being assertive, you're being confrontational. Real assertiveness keeps the goal in focus. If your goal is to collaborate more effectively, a more assertive statement might be, "I want to make sure our workload is shared fairly. Can we talk about how to divide these tasks?" This approach expresses your needs clearly while still respecting the other person. Assertiveness is never about overpowering someone. It's about communicating honestly, calmly, and with mutual regard. If assertiveness feels unfamiliar, the first step is learning the method. Assertive communication is not aggressive or demanding. It's clear, respectful, and specific. Often, the anxiety decreases simply by knowing how to say something. Take that earlier example. Instead of thinking, "I can't tell my boss no, it'll hurt my review," try practicing a specific statement to say to the boss. "My daughter has an important event tonight. Would it be possible for me to take care of this first thing tomorrow?" When people role play this type of statement, they often say, "Oh, I can do that." That reaction highlights how important it is to develop a specific, assertive response rather than thinking about the situation in vague, overwhelming terms. Before jumping into the actual exposure, it helps to script exactly what you want to say and then rehearse it out loud if possible, and with someone else if you can. Practicing the words, the tone, and even the body language allows your mind and body to become familiar with the assertive stance. Over time, as you practice more situations and engage in real-life assertive communication, your responses begin to feel more natural. Eventually, you won't need to script or rehearse every scenario because you've internalized the skills. Assertiveness starts to become an automatic way of responding rather than something you have to plan each time. So, before jumping into exposure, it helps to script and rehearse what you want to say. And the same as other exposure techniques, start with a hierarchy, a list of assertive situations ranked from least to most anxiety provoking. For instance, 1, asking a waiter to correct an order. 2. Requesting clarification from a coworker. 3. Expressing a differing opinion in a meeting. 4. Saying no to a friend's request. 5. Telling a family member something you've avoided. Even practicing these scenarios in front of a mirror or role-playing with someone you trust can cause some anxiety at first. That's part of the exposure. So your hierarchy may include your practice, depending on how much anxiety it causes. As you repeat and progress through your hierarchy, your body learns that you can tolerate the arousal, and the world doesn't collapse when you speak up assertively. But for some clients, this practice can create high arousal. Their heart rate increases just thinking about saying no. I once taught an assertion training class in which I divided the class into pairs and instructed one to make a request and the other to say no. Many people in the class couldn't just say no. If you find practice difficult, combine exposure with mindfulness skills and your relaxation methods. Noticing the sensations, labeling them, this is anxiety, and allowing them to rise and fall without avoidance. The goal isn't to feel perfectly calm, it's to stay present while feeling anxious. Each time you do, the fear response weakens. Assertiveness as exposure is a way of getting your needs met. You may tremble, your heart may pound, but by confronting that discomfort, you're training your brain to recognize that you can face rejection, disagreement, or even disapproval and still be okay. When you avoid, you sacrifice your values for temporary relief. When you act assertively, you align your behavior with what truly matters, even if it's uncomfortable. And over time, you'll notice something remarkable. The anxiety fades faster, your confidence grows, and your relationships become more genuine. With this lesson, reflect upon times when you didn't speak up because anxiety interfered. You felt uncertain or fearful of a negative outcome. Your task is to write out scenarios of what you could say in an assertive manner. Examine your word choice and consider whether your approach is respectful but direct and supports your goal. You can use the companion audio with this podcast, Imaginal Practice for Assertive Communication, to help practice the scenarios you have created. The more you practice in your mind, the more you will develop the skill and confidence to take the next step of being assertive with others. Let's close with a brief mindful reflection. Take a slow, steady breath. Think of one small situation this week where you could practice gentle assertiveness, maybe asking for what you need, or simply stating your opinion. Picture yourself doing it with calm clarity. You don't have to feel fearless. You just need to stay present. With each step toward assertiveness, you're retraining both your mind and your body to trust your ability to handle life's discomforts. Take one last breath and remind yourself, I can face discomfort and be true to myself. Until next time, keep practicing, keep breathing, and keep moving forward.